Like that child, my life was golden. Moving in these streets without being noticed.
So Beyonce jumped down on you.
She jumped down. Oh, she was like on a windowsill.
Right.
We was in Vegas. She said, come on, I'm talking to her. She jumped down. She was like, duh, duh, duh.
Speaking about his most recent clash with the Carter family, 50 Cent explained that it taught him about where he stood with them. And in the same way, they also aren't his greatest fans, as he claimed that Mrs. Queen Bee herself assaulted him over his bad blood with her husband. Some years ago, while visiting her husband, rapper Jay-Z, in Las Vegas, 50 Cent was unexpectedly challenged by none other than Beyonce about his conflict with Jay-Z. Beyonce, according to 50, jumped out at him and was ready to fight. She was sitting on a windowsill. We were in Vegas, he recounted on The Breakfast Club. When retelling his incident with Beyonce in Las Vegas, 50 Cent theorized that she may have assumed he and her husband were having an altercation before jumping out and confronting him with a no-nonsense, aggressive attitude. And I was like, wait, what are you doing? That's my and Jay stuff, sees? This has nothing to do with you, girl, 50 Cent told presenters Charlamagne Tha God and DJ Envy.
She's throwing me off now, because I don't know exactly how to respond to this. You are still Beyonce.
50 admitted that Beyonce's reaction to their quarrel caught him off guard and that he was astonished and taken aback by her reaction because it was a circumstance he had not anticipated. I was like, oh shit, I didn't really know what to do, he recalls. It was one of those situations where you were like, whoa, if you say this to Jay, he'll look at you and go, nah, that happened. According to the G-Unit founder, he was at a loss for how to reply to Beyonce during their dispute since, as he described it, she's Beyonce, and he never imagined finding himself in that kind of circumstance with her. 50 said, I'm like, whoa, she throwing me off now cause I don't know exactly how to respond to this. You are still Beyonce. She brought all of the sexy over with that energy jumping off. During the broadcast, co-host Charlamagne Tha God took a joke at Beyonce's family by citing her sister Solange, who garnered prominence for her violent incident with Jay-Z in an elevator following the 2014 Met Gala. You're lucky Solange wasn't there, Charlamagne said to 50 Cent, referring to Beyonce's famous elevator argument with Jay back in the day. 50 joined in on the fun, adding, if Solange was there, I would have had to reboot. Solange was popping in that elevator like it was nothing. With some gangster shit going on. Jay couldn't do nothing, huh? After attending the Met Gala afterparty at the Standard Hotel in New York City in 2014, Jay-Z and Beyonce's sister, Solange, were caught on surveillance camera engaging in a physical brawl in an elevator, an occurrence that 50 Cent and other participants of the show were referring to. Solange was seen cursing, striking, and kicking Jay-Z while a bodyguard tried to intervene. Even though Beyonce intervened to defuse the situation, Solange continued abusing her brother-in-law. Several people began to develop their own narratives after seeing the footage in the media. According to accounts at the time, Solange had a furious dispute with designer Rachel Roy before the physical conflict with Jay-Z in the elevator. According to a source, Jay-Z may have said or done anything that triggered Solange's rage. Following the public release of the elevator surveillance tape, there was much discussion regarding what caused the altercation. The Carters and Solange issued a joint statement in response to the incident. It said, at the end of the day, families have problems and we're no different. We love each other and above all we are family. We've put this behind us and hope everyone else will do the same. Their long-running animosity indicates that 50 Cent and rap mogul Jay-Z have been at odds since the beginning of 50 Cent's career. The conflict began with the contentious release of 50's tune How to Rob in 1999, in which he targeted a number of popular rappers at the time in order to generate awareness for himself. He had recently signed with Columbia Records and was awaiting the release of his debut album, Power of the Dollar, so he used the opportunity to draw attention to his work by mentioning artists such as Busta Rhymes, Lil Kim, Mace, Will Smith, DMX, Big Pun, Slick Rick, Master P, Diddy, and finally Jay-Z. Following the release of How to Rob, several musicians reacted to 50 Cent, which was exactly the reaction he had planned for with the song. When the two met at the Summer Jam concert, Jay-Z responded. Shaka Zulu, who was working in radio at the time at Columbia, invited the new artist backstage at Summer Jam to meet and greet the press, allowing them to put a face to the name behind the song. 50 further clarified that How to Rob was not intended to be taken seriously and was recorded solely for amusement purposes. According to 50 Cent, Jay-Z was impressed by the single but made it obvious that he wouldn't let it go undetected. I ran into Jay at Summer Jam and he said, yo, I don't like that record you got. I love that record you got. Fifth recalls. He goes on to reveal that Jay vowed to respond. But I didn't know he meant right then. He go on stage, that's the first time I ever seen 30,000 people, 50 continued. He said I'm about $1, who the fuck is 50 Cent? I ain't even know 30,000 people knew who 50 Cent was. I should send him a bottle of champagne for that. Jay-Z confirmed that he made a reference track for 50 Cent backstage while preparing for his set. Jay-Z revealed during an interview with legendary DJ Funkmaster Flex, "That was actually the first time I performed that record. I ain't even know it. I was backstage trying to make sure that I could get it and I seen him. I bumped right into him while he's backstage. I said, that record you got is hot. I like that joint." He was like, "Thanks, man." I say, "But you know I'm about to go in, right?" 50 Cent was overjoyed because he had just received recognition from one of the biggest stars in rap. With his popularity expanding, Columbia Records decided to put its weight behind him. Soon after, Jay-Z released his fourth studio album, Volume 3, Life and Times of S. Carter, and on track number 6, It's Hot, he supposedly fired some verses at 50 Cent, rapping the words, "Go against Jigga, your ass is dense, I'm about $1, what the f*** is 50 cents?" In 50's mind, the game between him and Jay-Z was fully on, and he responded with a diss tune titled Be a Gentleman, in which he advised Hov to care what you say. The song was later included in his collection mixtape Guess Who's Back, released in April 2002. Sadly for 50 Cent, Jay-Z was engaged with his own troubles regarding Mobb Deep and Nas by the time the diss single was released and never responded to 50. Some argue that Jay-Z may have purposefully overlooked 50 Cent, but no one can be certain because 50 Cent was later dropped by Columbia Records after being shot 9 times. In 2002, 50 Cent resurfaced with the compilation tape Guess Who's Back, followed by the G-Unit mixtape in June of the same year. His popularity grew once more, and record labels were anxious to sign him. He eventually earned a deal with Shady Records, where he worked with Eminem and Dr. Dre. Jay-Z observed 50's popularity and directed his musicians to make new music and flood the market before 50 Cent launched his debut album on Shady Records. Jay-Z had retired by this point, so he couldn't reply with a musical diss, but he could answer to 50 Cent through the music of his musicians. According to Fifth, his album dispute with Kanye West was a proxy conflict between him and Jay-Z. This assertion makes sense given that Jay-Z was the president of Kanye's record company at the time. 50 Cent anticipated that Jay-Z would give Kanye everything he had to win the competition, which resulted in Kanye outselling 50 Cent in their first week sales fight. "I was competing against an artist whose label was doing everything, and I mean everything, to make sure he beat me." Jimmy Iovine might not have cared about beating Kanye, but Jay-Z, who was the head of Def Jam at that time, damn sure cared about beating me, 50 Cent stated in his book Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. They have maintained a competitive relationship over the years, despite their share of squabbles. While their feud with the Carters was never heated, 50 Cent and Jay-Z have never really seen eye to eye, and this has been the case since the early 2000s and continues to this day. A fan shared an opinion on Twitter, writing, "One thing about Beyonce, she really about that life. I still gag when 50 Cent tells the story about how she ran down on him and tried to fight him." Another added, "So we now have on record that Beyonce has run down on and checked both 50 Cent and Fab. When will your favorite rapper..." Now
Skyscraper, high rises, skyscraper, tops, plenty paper, money, plenty paper. We getting it. Tell my haters, tell them what? Tell my haters, tell them what? I'm on a mission, I'm on one. I see them later. Let's get it. Skyscraper, skyscraper, all of them, plenty paper, 149, plenty paper. Fab. Tell my haters, tell my haters, I'm on a mission. Let's get it. I see them later. You know what time it is? Skyscrapers. New paper, green gators matching new paper. Money, ice, silver, and black Oakland Raiders. Shining. More money, more problems, more haters. I'm serving all tables like a waiter. Feeling like Snowman got my waiter. Riding down A-Fab, bumping Jada. Letter to Big, y'all know what it is. Skyscraper, high rises, skyscraper, tops. Plenty paper, money, plenty paper. We getting it. Tell my haters, tell them what? Tell my haters, tell them what? I'm on a mission, I'm on one. I see them later. Let's get it. Skyscraper, skyscraper, all of them, plenty paper, 149, plenty paper. Fab. Tell my haters, tell my haters, I'm on a mission. Let's get it. I see them later.